Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Halloween. So today, actually this whole week, this whole month, my life lately has been very stressful. There's a lot of things up in the air and I just haven't been able to film everything that I've been wanting to film for my channel. And in all honesty, it's so hard to find time to film because my life is just packed 24/7. Literally I have something to do every single day, every single minute, every single hour of my life. But one thing that I do want to do for myself is my videos. So without further ado, we're going to start this video. Now I'm filming my Halloween video. I wanted to film a few Halloween videos, but I'm gonna try my best to cram everything into one because I just don't have the time to film a lot of videos. But I really want to make this as fun as I can, and although Halloween is technically almost over, I'm gonna try to edit the hell out of this video super quick so I can just get this out, even if it's on Christmas. I just said Christmas, oh my god. Even if it's on Halloween day, I want to get this video out just so I can have something, that is part of, the Halloween experience. So number one, obviously, I got the nails done for Halloween. I felt that it was a really nice, cute little thing to do. I feel very it. I feel all kinds of everything, lusciousness. I feel all kinds of it right now. I feel this are great nipple teasers. I can be nipple teasers, hunting nipple. I can pick my boogies. Anyways, I'm filling myself with these nails. They're everything. I can go to the office and be like, what's your name? Sorry, we're booked. But anyways, so the point of this video is I want to go through a lot of my favorite scary movies. I want to give you guys my favorite scary movies, my favorite TV shows that have to do with spooky things like murder mysteries and stuff like that. In the spirit of Halloween, I have my nails. I'm gonna do a little bit of Halloween face work on my face, and I'm gonna have to wash it out afterwards because it's literally 10 o'clock and I probably should go to bed, but I need to make this video, so let's just get into it. I'm gonna be doing my face like a Halloween themed painting. It's not gonna be a tutorial on that though. I'm not a tutorial person when it comes to creating masks or Halloween stuff on your face. I just felt that it would be fun for me to talk about my favorite movies, my favorite TV shows, and let me just go ahead and start doing this little mask. So I'm thinking of doing a little skull. I'm thinking of doing a little skull mask. Kind of around this part of my face. I'm not gonna do my whole face because I'm gonna wash it off anyways. But I'm gonna try to see if I can do a little skull, maybe graph right here, and that's it. But let me go ahead and outline what I need to outline. Okay, so it looks a fucking mess, but we're gonna work with it. So let's talk about my favorite let's talk about my favorite shows. So I have a few channels that I really, really like that have to do with like murder mysteries and, you know, unexplained, and mainly like I love anything that has to do with like unsolved mysteries. And um I have three favorite channels, and one channel is called HNL. And the HNL channel is like a really, really kind of like old school type of channel. They only really have like two shows that they kind of like have a bunch of episodes. One is called Forensic Files, and the other one is called Something is Killing Me. So let's start with Forensic Files. Forensic Files is technically about literally mysteries or murders, mainly unsolved murders that have been cold cases or unsolved for years upon years upon years. And technically, through technology and through like new advances in science, they've been able to like find the people that, you know, that did the murders. Now with all the advances that we have in technology, like a lot of cases are being cracked open through like DNA and, you know, fingerprints and even like fibers and stuff like that. Um, and I just feel that it's really fascinating that we no longer have to like rely on even having a body. Like a lot of these cases, they don't even have a body. They don't even have like the body of the person that died. They literally are like just looking at the scene, looking at whatever is left from the person and trying to figure out what happened. Um, and I'm telling you, like, sometimes it's literally just like a piece of hair. Sometimes they only have like a piece of hair, and somehow they're able to figure out what the fuck happened to this person. And you're just like, how did that happen? But once they explain to you how they did it, and they put all the pieces together, and how they put all the pieces together, it makes sense. You're like, oh wow, like I never knew that technology could help solve a crime when like the body's not even there. Which is really amazing. It's amazing to know that we live in a time where science is becoming like the voice of those that can speak for themselves, you know? Those individuals that have been like killed and disposed of, and nowadays you don't need much anymore to figure out what happened to the person. All you need is like a drop of blood, a piece of hair, a fingerprint, um, even grass. Like they've solved mysteries by literally studying like the grass. It's pretty awesome. Wow, this looks really, really bad. But anyways, so that's Forensic Files. The second show that I like from that network is called Something's Killing Me. So Something's Killing Me is really interesting because they're not talking about like someone killing someone. It's something is killing this person. Like there's something. It could be like a bug. It could be like a disease. It could be like an animal. It could be like something in the air. This show focuses on cases where the person was so sick to the point of death, or the person unfortunately did die. Um, and it's cases where, the person goes to the hospital, they're literally dying, and the doctors have no idea what's wrong with the person. Like, they literally have no idea what's going on. And usually these cases are very interesting because you get to actually learn a lot about things that are out there that you don't know that might be harmful for you or for your kids, and they actually are. For example, like, there was two cases. One case was of it was a kid, two older people from Hawaii, and another guy from Hawaii that developed this illness called rat worm. Rat. The disease was called rat liver worm or something like that. I'll try to find a link or something. But technically, these people um, ate literally like a salad that was contaminated by slugs. Yes, slugs. So literally, this disease called rat liver disease, or rat liverworm disease, is a disease that comes from rats. Okay? The rats take shit. When they take a shit, slugs, for some reason, are attracted to it, and the slugs eat the shit, and then the slugs develop this like disease, and that disease can be transferred to humans. And here's the kicker: if we eat the slug. So, how the fuck do you eat a slug? So there's, according to the show, there's a lot of ways. Number one, people do eat slugs. It's called escargot. So there's one. Number two, the way that the two older people in the show, the way that they got it was that they have a garden and they love to be like, vegan, natural, like the type of people, they're like, I eat from what I grow type of thing. And so I guess there was a fucking slug in one of the fucking like leaves of like kale or whatever they had. And when they were making their like morning smoothie, they probably blended the slug into their drink, drank it, and then they developed this disease. And then what happened with, there was like a baby, there was like a 9-month old baby that developed it. And what happened with that baby was like the kid was playing outside and he just fucking ate a slug. It was like that simple. Like the kid just ate a slug. That simple. And okay, so the other case that was on that show, like I said, the show is called Something's Killing Me. And the other case from that show was that um, this girl that was very healthy, very athletic. Um, she so this girl developed a flu and then a high fever, and then all of a sudden her body, like her arms and her legs, they were starting to like convulge, like they were starting to like twitch and move. Um, and it got to the point where they had to take her to the hospital. And it turned out that she had rabies, right? And the way that she got the rabies was that she lives in a farm, and she just stumbled upon like a little bat, like a baby bat that was like injured, and she decided to like help the baby bat, and the bat like scratched her, like literally just scratched her. The bat just scratched her, and she thought nothing of it. She was just like, okay, it's a tiny little scratch. It's nothing. It's just a tiny little scratch. So she really didn't think nothing much of it, and she continued on with her day. Um, and a few days later, she started feeling sick, and she started getting all these symptoms, like all these like fevers and tremors in her body, and she couldn't control like the way that her body was moving, and they technically figured out that it was rabies. So the thing is that her parents were not like scared when the doctor said she had rabies, because we've all heard of rabies. I even thought that rabies was like, it's like an old thing, like we have a cure for it. Turns out that we don't have a cure for it. It turns out that we don't have a cure for rabies, people. We don't have a cure for rabies. So the way that it works is that we have a vaccine that you can get as soon as you get bitten or scratched by like a mammal that has rabies. So if you get it before the rabies travels into your like neurological system, before it reaches the brain, if they give you the shot before that happens, then you're good. Once the rabies virus gets into the neurological system and is traveling up the brain, it's hard to stop it. Once it reaches the brain, it's fatal. Like, you will die. But in this story, it turned out that one of the doctors was like, your daughter is going to die if we don't do nothing to try to fix it, right? Like, he was like, she's gonna die. Like, the rabies virus is already in her brain. After this, the only thing that we can do is make her feel comfortable, and like, just, she's gonna die. Or we can use her as an experiment and figure out if we can find something to help her. So the parents were like, well, if my daughter's gonna die, we want to make sure that, she doesn't die without, for no cost, right? We want to make sure that if we can learn something from her, then at least her death is not in vain. And so the doctor decided to put her into a coma. So the doctor induced a coma on her, and the doctor said the body can actually heal itself by creating antibodies, and it's gonna flush the rabies virus out. So they said, what I want to try is I want to put her into a coma, which they did. And once she's in the coma, we're just gonna, like, make sure that she stays alive and see what happens. We're gonna let her own body kind of like go through the motions and see what happens. And so they did that, and the girl ended up surviving. So the girl ended up actually like surviving rabies, and she was the first person in the world to survive rabies without having a vaccine or anything. They just put her ass to sleep and fed her a bunch of like stuff to keep her alive, and then she lived. But here's the thing, like, they try to do that to other people, right? After that, they're like, oh, great, we have a cure. Yay. Life is so much better. So they try to do that to other people, and other people died. And they tried to do that on more people, and then they realized that they have no idea what makes someone die and someone live, because every time they do it, the person either lives or dies. So they're trying to figure out, like, now they're trying to figure out what makes the person die after they go to the coma, and what is the one thing that they do that makes a person live. Because the goal obviously is to find a cure. And it seems that we're on the right track. It seems that the doctors are now on the right track to finding a cure. But now the question is, like, how can we keep someone alive during the coma? Because from their findings, people will either die or live. But that's the thing, like, once the person is in the coma, they don't know what the outcome is gonna be. They cannot guarantee the parent that the kid or the person is gonna die or it's gonna live. Like, they cannot tell anything. They're like, we just know that if we put the person into the coma, they're either gonna live or die. But if we don't put them in a coma, they're for sure gonna die. So at this point, everyone that gets rabies and doesn't get the shot before the rabies gets to their brain, they get put into a coma, and we just hope for the best and see if the person's gonna die or the person's gonna live. So that's with that show. Now, the other show that I really like is from Oxygen, and this show is very popular. It's called Snapped, and it has to do with, like, technically, like, women that killed. So it has to do with women that kill and their stories of why they do it. And I think it's really fascinating because, according to the experts, women killers are actually, like, very rare. They're, like, super rare. And Snap is all about women. All the cases have to do that with women that snapped and killed somebody. Now, I have two more shows that I really like. One is called The Murder Tapes. And the show The Murder Tapes, you can find that one on IDTV. The cool thing about this show is that it showcases like murders through actual videotapes that recorded what was happening. So technically you get to see the person literally like going through their day. You know, you it's kind of scary because it you are literally watching films of different cameras that caught the person that was gonna die throughout their day. So they gather all these videotapes and they piece together like the last day of the person. And through that, they try to figure out like who killed the person, right? And they narrate the story. And unlike other shows where they pay people to act the story, like they're telling you the story and what you see is actual videos of the person living their life, but it was caught on camera. So it's kind of crazy. It's hard to explain. Even me trying to explain it, how they put it together, is kind of like I I it's really hard for me to like put the words together of how they managed to like make all that happen. But it's really interesting. And like I said, it's called The Murdered Tapes. The other show that's on IDTV that I really like is called In Pursuit. And the show In Pursuit is technically the new version of America's Most Wanted. So everybody knows America's Most Wanted. That's a show that pretty much that's a show that makes people want to get involved to find, you know, killers that are out in the run or criminals that are out in the run. And In Pursuit is technically like the same idea. And it's actually the same guy from America's Most Wanted. The same guy from America's Most Wanted, like the person that narrates the show or whatever, it's the same person that narrates In Pursuit. And the reason why I like watching that is because you never know when you might bump into that person. Like, although you're like, I'm just an average girl, like living in an average world, like nothing exciting ever happens. What if you're watching the show and they're like, please help us find this person? This person committed this like horrible crime. And you know the person, you know, you've seen that person, or like, you know, it's the person at the gasoline station that you bumped into the other day, or it's someone that your friend is like dating or whatever. Like, it's crazy, but that has happened. That has happened where somebody's watching In Pursuit and they've actually called and said, that is like my friend's boyfriend that just moved into town, and his name is Scott, you know, or some shit like that. So I really like that show. Hey, you guys, Future Isaiah's here. So I failed to mention some words of advice, and this is advice that is just good, solid advice from professionals and from things that I've learned through watching these shows. One is, if you find yourself in a situation where you feel you might be kidnapped or you might be in danger, if you feel that your life is in danger or that you might be raped or kidnapped, please do not go without a fight. Scratch, bite, pull hair, touch everything around you, leave tracks, leave some sort of like sign that you were there, rather it may be like your own hair or your fingerprints or whatever. Just go, literally don't go without a fight. Just fight the person as much as you can, even if he threatens you. If he threatens you, at the end of the day, you do not know if you will live to tell your story. So let the things that you leave behind tell the story. In one of these shows, a cop said something that stayed with me, which is, do not go without a fight. Fight, pull hair, leave us something to work with, because all we find is possibly the only thing that is left of you. Because, like I said, nowadays, it's hard to find a body and they do their work through forensics. So, whatever you can leave behind, leave it so they know that you were there, and fight. Number two is the second advice is my own advice to you. From watching all these shows, movies, and documentaries about, murders and killers, one thing that I've noticed that people survive when they do something that grosses or scares their offender. Now, what is one thing that I've noticed that grosses them out or scares them is when victims or, the person that's being attacked takes a shit or they pee on themselves. Especially in a situation where you might feel that you're going to be raped, please just pee on yourself or take a shit. And trust me, that will throw this fucker so out of whack. They will not know what to do and they will probably fucking run away or leave you. So when in doubt, fight it out and take a shit. Now back to the video. So now we get to the good part. Now we get to my top movies of all time that have to do with scary shit. Like scary shit. Like scary shit. Like scary shit.